I married her for love. She married me for money. I found the prenup she tried to hide, saw the texts calling me her retirement plan, and smiled. I signed nothing new, filed first, and let her learn that love without respect comes with receipts. Original post: I am Caleb, 35, male. I married Aubrey, 31, 3 years ago in Austin, Texas. I was not rich, not private jet rich, not mansion with gates rich, but I had done well. I owned a small commercial plumbing company with 12 employees. I had a house I bought before we met, 2 work trucks paid off, about $180,000 in retirement, and no major debt except the mortgage. Aubrey worked as an event coordinator. She was beautiful, funny, and the kind of person who could walk into a room and make everyone look at her without trying. At least I thought she was not trying. We met at a charity dinner my company sponsored. She was working the event. I asked for directions to the silent auction table. She smiled and said, "You look like a man who needs help finding more than that." I was hooked. For the first year, she made me feel chosen. She remembered little things: coffee with no sugar, my favorite burger place, the fact that I hated big birthday parties but liked quiet dinners. When my dad had surgery, she brought food to my mom's house 3 nights in a row. So when she said she wanted a real future, I believed her. The engagement was simple. A ring that cost $9,800, which was more than I had planned but less than what she hinted at after sending me photos of rings that looked like mortgage payments. The wedding was not simple. I wanted a backyard ceremony. She wanted a hotel ballroom, custom flowers, a live band, and a photographer from Nashville. I paid $42,000. Her parents contributed $2,500 and acted like they had funded the whole thing. Still, I was happy, because I loved her, because I thought marriage meant building something together. The signs came after the honeymoon, small at first. She stopped calling it my house and started calling it our investment. She asked when I was going to upgrade my truck because a business owner should look successful. She made jokes about how my work clothes smelled like middle-class panic. When I told her that was not funny, she kissed my cheek and said, "Relax, I'm proud of you." But pride started sounding a lot like inventory. How much was the house worth now? What was in the retirement account? Did I have life insurance? Could we add her to the deed for emotional security? Why did I still keep a separate business account if we were married? I said no to the deed. Calmly. I told her the house was bought before marriage and my lawyer had already advised me to keep it separate. That changed something. She did not explode. Aubrey rarely exploded at first. She went cold instead. Then came the anniversary weekend. I had planned 2 nights in Fredericksburg. Wine tasting, small cabin, no phones. She said it sounded cute, but maybe we should do something more elevated. She suggested a resort in Scottsdale that cost $1,200 a night. I said not this year. She smiled and said, "Caleb, sometimes I forget you are more comfortable acting broke than being generous." That sentence sat in my chest for days. The real break happened the next Friday. Aubrey was in the shower. Her laptop was open on the kitchen island because she had been picking dinner reservations. A message popped up from her friend Brianna. "Did he sign the postnup yet, or are you still stuck playing patient wife?" I did not touch the laptop at first. I just stared. Another message came in. "Girl, you gave him 3 years. If he loved you, he'd put your name on everything." Then Aubrey replied from her phone because the conversation synced on the laptop, working on it. "He's stubborn but not stupid. I didn't marry a plumber for romance. I married stability. I'm not leaving empty-handed, quiet." That was the only sound in my head, quiet. I took photos of the screen with my phone. Not one, all of it. The group chat, the jokes, the messages calling me her retirement plan, the one where she said my house would be worth more after she softened the place up. The one where she said if I pushed back, she could always cry and say I made her feel unsafe financially. I put the phone down. She came out 20 minutes later in my robe, smiling like nothing had happened. She asked what I wanted for dinner. I said, "Something simple." She said, "You and simple, always." I smiled. Not because it was funny, because I had finally stopped being confused. 4 days later, I did not confront her that night. That is important. Aubrey expected emotion. She knew what to do with emotion. Tears, guilt, soft voice, sudden affection. She was very good at turning pain into a courtroom where she was always the victim, so I became practical. Saturday morning, I called a divorce attorney named Monica. I sent the screenshots, the house documents, the business records, the prenup she had signed 2 weeks before the wedding, and the email chain where she had begged me not to make it unromantic, but signed anyway. Yes, we had a prenup. My older brother Travis insisted. He said love is beautiful, but paperwork is what keeps beautiful from becoming expensive. At the time, Aubrey cried for 2 days. She said I was planning for failure. I told her I was protecting what existed before her, not refusing to build after her. She signed. Then apparently spent 3 years trying to undo it. Monica reviewed everything and said, do not move out, do not empty accounts. Do not threaten, do not argue, document, keep living normally until we file. So I lived normally. I went to work, replaced a water heater at a restaurant, handled payroll. Ate dinner with Aubrey while she talked about wanting to renovate the primary bathroom because future buyers expect luxury. I said we could revisit it next year. She frowned. That night she brought out a folder. Inside was a postnup. She said, I think this would help me feel secure. It's not about money. It's about trust. I read it at the kitchen table. It said that if we divorced for any reason, she would receive 50% of the house's current equity, 30% of my business valuation, half of retirement growth, and $4,000 a month in support for 3 years. I asked who wrote this. She said I found a template online. She did not. A lawyer wrote it. Badly for me, but professionally enough. I placed it back in the folder and said, I'm not signing this. Her eyes filled immediately. There she was, the soft victim. She said, after everything I've given you, you still don't trust me. I said, correct. She froze, because I had never answered that directly before. I stood up, rinsed my glass, and went upstairs. By morning, her first flying monkey arrived. Brianna texted me. Aubrey is devastated. You made her feel like a gold digger for wanting basic security. That is honestly cruel. I replied, tell Aubrey to stop outsourcing conversations about our marriage. Then I blocked Brianna. 2 hours later, Aubrey's mom called. She said, marriage is about sharing, Caleb. A woman needs to know she won't be thrown away after helping a man build. I said, what exactly did Aubrey help me build? Silence. I said the house was mine before her. The company was mine before her. The trucks were mine before her. The debt-free accounts were mine before her. She helped pick curtains. Her mom called me arrogant. I said maybe, but not confused. That evening, Aubrey came home furious. Not crying this time. Furious. She said, you embarrassed me in front of my mother. I said, you involved your mother. She said, I am your wife. I said, then you should have acted less like an investor. She slapped the folder off the counter. Papers went everywhere. I took 1 step back and said, do not do that again. She laughed and said, or what? You'll divorce me. I said yes. And for the first time, she looked scared. 3 weeks later, I filed the following Monday. Aubrey was served at her office during lunch. I did not plan that part, but I also did not lose sleep over it. By 12:40, my phone had 23 missed calls. By 110, she had texted, you are destroying our marriage over private jokes. You invaded my privacy. I was venting. You're acting like a monster. I love you. Please come home. Actually, don't come home. I hate you. Answer me. I answered none of them. Monica had already told me. Silence is cheaper than explanations. When I got home, Aubrey's car was in the driveway. I parked on the street and turned on my phone recorder before walking inside. She was in the living room with mascara down her face and our wedding album open on her lap. That almost got me. Almost. She said, look at us. You're really going to throw this away? I said, I did not write those messages. She said, people say things when they're frustrated. I said, you said you didn't marry me for romance. She said, that was a joke. I said, you said I was your retirement plan. She said I was angry. I said, you tried to get me to sign over my house and business. She stood up and screamed because I am your wife. I said, not for long. She grabbed a framed wedding photo and threw it at the wall. Glass shattered near the hallway. I did not yell. I did not move toward her. I walked outside and called the police. When officers arrived, she became tiny and tearful. She said we had an argument and I was trying to make her look unstable. Then one officer looked at the broken glass, the dent in the wall, and my recording. He asked if I wanted to leave for the night. I said no. This is my house. Aubrey left with her sister Paige. The police report became document number 1 in the divorce file. The next week was a campaign. She posted a photo of her wedding ring on Instagram with the caption, "Some men punish women for wanting to feel safe." Her friends flooded the comments. Brianna wrote, "Financial abuse is real." Paige wrote, "We know the truth. I said nothing publicly." Privately, Monica sent Aubrey's attorney the screenshots. The tone changed fast. Suddenly, Aubrey wanted mediation. Suddenly, she wanted privacy. Suddenly, she was willing to be reasonable. Her first demand was $150,000, the SUV I had mostly paid for, and 2 years of support. My counteroffer was $12,000, half the joint savings, and she keeps her personal car if she refinances it within 60 days. She rejected it. Then came the fake crisis. At 2:17 a.m., she texted from a new number. "I might be pregnant." I stared at the screen for maybe 10 seconds. Then I sent it to Monica. The truth was simple. Aubrey and I had not been intimate in nearly 2 months. She had made sure of that while punishing me for not signing the postnup. Monica replied in the morning, "Do not engage. Ask for communication through counsel." So I texted, "All communication goes through attorneys." Aubrey responded, "Wow, even if I'm carrying your child." I did not answer. 2 days later, the pregnancy scare disappeared. Then she switched tactics. She claimed I had hidden marital assets, claimed I had cash jobs, claimed the business was worth $900,000 because she Googled plumbing companies and saw franchise numbers. My actual business valuation came back around $310,000, and most of that was equipment, contracts, and receivables. The prenup protected the original business, and she had no real claim to the premarital value. During all this, I got promoted in a way, not a corporate title. My biggest commercial client offered me a 3-year maintenance contract worth almost $240,000 total if I could expand coverage. I hired 2 more techs, bought another used van, kept showing up to work. That annoyed her more than anything. She wanted me broken. Instead, I got busier. 4 months later, the divorce finalized in Travis County Court on a Thursday morning. Aubrey arrived in a navy dress, looking elegant and wounded. She always knew how to dress for the room. Her attorney did most of the talking. The final settlement was nothing like what she wanted. She got $18,500 from the marital savings, kept her personal belongings, and I agreed to pay off the remaining $6,200 on her car loan just to end the fight. No house equity, no business ownership, no support. No retirement split beyond a small marital growth calculation that came to $3,900. Total cost to me, including attorney fees and the car payoff, was a little over $31,000. Expensive. But freedom has a price, and sometimes the receipt is worth framing. In the hallway after court, Aubrey tried one last scene. She walked up with wet eyes and said, "I really did love you, Caleb." I looked at her for a long second. I wanted to believe that. Some part of me still wanted the woman from the charity dinner. The woman who brought soup to my mom. The woman who made my quiet life feel warmer before she started measuring it in dollars. So I said the truest thing I could. "Maybe you loved what I gave you. I don't think you ever loved me." She whispered, "That's not fair." I said, "Neither was marrying me like a business plan." Then I left. 2 weeks later, she posted a quote about surviving narcissistic financial control. A month after that, she launched a small online course about rebuilding after divorce. I wish I were joking. The first video was filmed in Paige's guest room with a fake plant behind her, and the same soft voice she used when she wanted someone to feel guilty. Brianna unblocked me long enough to send one message. "You ruined her life," I replied. "No." I stopped funding it. Then I blocked her again. Aubrey's mom called once more, not to yell this time. She said, "I don't agree with everything she did." That was as close to an apology as she could get. I said, "I hope she learns from it." Her mom said, "I hope so too." And that was it. My house is quiet now. The bathroom was never renovated. The curtains she picked are gone. I replaced them with cheap blinds from a hardware store because I liked how plain they looked. My truck is still old. My company is doing better than ever. My employees know enough not to ask too many personal questions, but one of them, Jordan, brought breakfast tacos the Monday after court and said, "Boss, you look 10 years younger." I laughed because I felt 10 years lighter. I am not dating seriously yet. I went to dinner once with a woman named Natalie, a friend of a friend, and when the check came, she grabbed it and said, "I invited you, I've got it." I almost did not know what to do with that. Not because I care about the money, because consideration feels strange after being used. That is what people miss about relationships like this. It is not only the financial damage. It is the way you start wondering whether every sweet moment was a receipt waiting to be cashed later. Did she love me when she held my hand at my dad's hospital bed? Maybe. Did she love me when she danced with me barefoot in the kitchen? Maybe. Did she love me when she looked at my house and saw equity before she saw home? No, that is the part I finally accepted. I married her for love. She married me for money. Both of us entered the same marriage, but we were never building the same future. I wanted Sunday mornings, shared grocery lists, stupid jokes, and someone who saw the tired man under the work boots. She wanted security, status, upgrades, and a signature. And when I refused to confuse being a husband with being an asset, the whole performance collapsed. So here is the lesson I paid $31,000 to learn. Love someone generously, but do not love them blindly. Share your life, but do not hand someone the keys to everything you built just because they call suspicion romance and paperwork betrayal. The right person will not need to own you to feel secure with you. If you have faced something like this, or if you think Caleb was right or went too far, comment your opinion below. Please subscribe, like, and share this story with someone who needs to hear it.